Welcome back. This is episode number 17 of ECW CyberSlam. We are back in the tri-state in Buffalo, New York, and this show begins with an excellent segment, a B-75 rating. World champion Rob Van Dam coming down to the ring to open the show. When he enters the ring, a large portion of the ECW roster come down and join him, entering the ring with him, a show of solidarity in response to the recent actions of Paul Heyman and that group who he has decided to put faith in. RVD speaks, saying that last week proved something. No matter how many obstacles Heyman wants to put in their way, they will overcome him and they will fight for their place in the new ECW. If Heyman's hustle close one door, they'll find another one to kick right down. The rallying cry calls Paul Heyman to the top of the stage. For the first time since he turned on Rob Van Dam and the originals, Heyman stands alone, safe in the knowledge that those who have it in for him are all in the ring at the moment. He tells the locker room that they're right. He did underestimate their desire to stay and fight and be part of the new ECW. However, he never said that there wasn't a place for them. Glad to have them all in one place. Heyman gives them a tangible goal, a chance to prove their worth in the new ECW as they return to pay-per-view in 8 weeks' time for Heatwave 2006. So a huge segment to open the show with a huge announcement, an excellent rating which I'm really pleased about. Rob Van Dam doing a masterful job of improvising, as did Paul Heyman, who always does, getting the show off to a strong start and getting the crowd hotter. That is everything we need from an opening segment. I'm also going to change Sabu's gimmick because it's got a poor rating at the moment. We changed it to Extremist. Gets above average, that's an improvement. It's not great, but I'm not too bothered about that. Out of the announcement of Heatwave 2006, the commentators react to the news, leading into a video package from the ending of last week's show. Footage is shown of the main event, where Heyman's personal security looked to help Low-Ki to pick up a victory over Rob Van Dam after the Hustle and the Originals were barred from ringside. Low-Ki appeared on the brink of becoming the new ECW World Champion when backup came from a surprising source. Bringing a steel chair with him, Brent Albright took out Paul Heyman's personal security team, giving RVD a clear run at Low-Ki. Rob Van Dam was able to get the better of the Hustle member, hitting the 5-star frog splash to retain his ECW World Championship. We then go into a segment that was supposed to promote the main event but gets a very bad rating and hurts the storyline, so not doing its job really. Nonetheless, Homicide is interviewed ahead of the ECW Television Championship match in the main event, the final of an 8-man tournament. Homicide will face CM Punk later in the night. Cutting off the interviewer, Homicide was clearly fired up, angry that the grip that they had on the new ECW has loosened in recent weeks. Using the time to publicly challenge the rest of the group, Homicide was pointing the finger, demanding more from each and every one of them. He particularly focused on Xavier and Sonny Siaki, who he dismissed ahead of Xavier's match with Brent Albright up next. Left with his right-hand man Low-Ki, Homicide vowed that the ECW Television Championship would be coming home with the Hustle tonight. We're also going to change the gimmick of Sonny Siaki. We've been getting that note for weeks. I've only just acted on it. Hopefully it's a below average. Hopefully it's one that suits him so I don't keep getting that note, but it is quite a disappointing change there. We then go into the first match of the night. That is a very good rating from what I expected from these two. They have great chemistry, so that helped. Brent Albright defeating Xavier in 9 minutes 33 by submission with a crowbar. During the match, Sonny Siaki tried to help Xavier, but it actually backfired. He hit Xavier. This is what led into Albright being able to lock in the crowbar, making Xavier tap out in the ring. A 57 from Xavier, that is his best performance by some distance so far. We got the crowd hotter. A 45 from Brent Albright, so that's okay, but a good match to open the show. After the match, despite it being his mistake that had the direct impact on Xavier losing that match, Sonny Siaki got in his Hustle teammate's face, calling him out on submitting to Brent Albright. Xavier was annoyed by this and fired back, the two continuing to argue as Brent Albright stood tall at the top of the ramp. The commentators questioned how the pressure Homicide has put on them is affecting Hustle and wondered whether it would play into tonight's main event. We then get an excellent interview with CM Punk doing a much better job than Homicide did earlier. Punk is clearly happy to see dissent in the ranks of the Hustle, however he will not rest on his laurels going into tonight's main event. Not only does Punk know that Hustle always have something up their sleeve, he also realises that even in a fair one-on-one, Homicide is a huge threat. Tonight, CM Punk is dealing with a dangerous man in a dangerous match, but he is determined to climb the ladder and become the ECW Television Champion. We then cut away to Shelly Martinez stood in front of a television. She doesn't say anything, just pointing and gesturing as a video package of Kevin Furtig's first month in ECW begins. The package shows his brutal interactions with the likes of Roadkill, Danny Doring, Johnny Swinger and FBI, as well as his intimate moments with his girlfriend Shelly Martinez. I realise that rating Shelly on her sex appeal and Kevin Furtig on his menace gets a decent rating, so I'm just exploiting that again. It's a good segment, especially considering neither of them are particularly over. Cutting to the locker room of Hustle before the main event, Xavier and Sonny Siaki are seen bickering once again as Homicide attempts to run through his game plan one last time before the match begins. Homicide is close to snapping at the pair before Low-Ki steps in to try and cool things down. Key tells Homicide that he'll go through the plan one last time with him and Homicide can go and get ready to go to the ring. Homicide leaves the room, but as Low-Ki looks to get Xavier and Siaki back on the same page, the door opens again. This time it isn't Homicide. Instead, the group of originals and those guys in the locker room who have aligned with them storm the room and assault the Hustle. For the first time really, the Hustle are completely outnumbered. They can't do anything about it and they're laid out. Payback for what has gone on for the last 2 months, and even before then, the group take out Homicide's backup plan moments before the scheduled main event. From the nature of the attack, it's pretty clear that Homicide will be going it alone in his match with CM Punk. We'll then get a video package before the main event as the television championship is raised on its hook. Joey Styles and Taz talking over footage from the tournament that led to CM Punk v Homicide for the title. Homicide of course received that bizarre bye into the semi-finals before defeating Brent Albright with the help of his Hustle teammates. CM Punk on the other hand overcame 2 members of the Hustle, defeating Xavier and Sonny Siaki on his way to the final. Into that main event, and it is a very, very impressive 73 B-. I'm really pleased with that. CM Punk a 74, Homicide a 51. By far the best match that we have booked so far. Good wrestling, decent crowd reaction. CM Punk versus Homicide for the television championship. During the match, Homicide took a crazy bump. I'm thinking something from the ladder to tables on the outside. That left CM Punk alone. Homicide had no backup, and that meant that CM Punk was able to become the ECW television champion in 14 minutes and 32. A really great main event for us there, and this could possibly be our best show yet. After the match, CM Punk sat atop the ladder holding the ECW television championship. The commentators put over that he'd overcome 3 members of the Hustle to win the title, a feat which this time last month had appeared impossible. Punk also had the ECW locker room to thank, and a number of them came out to the top of the stage to applaud him on his victory. ECW CyberSlam ended with CM Punk raising the title, the first TV champion of the new ECW. The commentators put over how he was the final hope in stopping the Hustle gaining championship gold in ECW, and for now, he'd succeeded in doing that and proved himself as the MVP of the new breed talent. All round a really good show. Just before I go into the overall rating, I just want to say it's like a alternate timeline. This was actually supposed to be a moment when I started the game that CM Punk turned heel. The idea was that he would endear himself to the ECW originals. Tommy Dreamer would then wheel Sandman down to the ring. He'd obviously had his career ended earlier in storyline. Sandman would then return to his feet, looking to get a big pop for him actually being able to walk again. He would offer CM Punk a beer. Punk would obviously decline being straight edge. Sandman would then open the beer and get some on CM Punk. This would cause him to flip and turn, and he would destroy Sandman with a kendo stick. All the originals trying to get him off. Punk absolutely losing it. That was going to be his heel turn, but 1, he's done so well, and 2, we've not really been able to build up any more faces. Brent Albright was supposed to be in that secondary position with Tommy Dreamer and Sabu, those kind of guys on the second level of faces. He's not been able to do that, so Punk stays face, and I think just for the story, it's only been a few months. Punk turning heel would have been too soon, so I'm glad that I changed my mind on that. The overall show is a 71C+, a brilliant rating after the disappointment of the last few weeks. That is just the best show we've done so far. CM Punk absolutely the star of this save, and that is a really good start to the 8-week build to ECW Heatwave 2006.